Hey, it is headliner day here at the Vinyl Village Garage. I'm going to put the headliner in the Great Pumpkin. No, not the headliner like a Pantera band like I went to last weekend. That was really cool. That has nothing to do with this, but just wanted to share that I was there and really enjoyed it. I think Phil and the Rex and Zach, they all did a fantastic job, but that's just my rant. I love Pantera. Glad to see them again. It was 20 some years ago, but now let's talk about this car right here, the Great Pumpkin. I've been working on staying slow and steady. You guys have been seeing from the very beginning. You know what we started with. This looks nothing like that now. The headliner, that's something a few of you had actually asked how to install that. What's the best way to do that? Do's, don'ts, maybes, and if, ands, or buts. But we're going to jump in and take care of this. I've done a few of these headliners. Again, no expert when it comes to all this stuff, but I have a little experience, and I'll share what I have learned. And maybe you can take that information and do a whole lot more good on yours. Or if it comes out really great, you guys just follow along. It's going to work out just fine for you just the same. But step one out there on the GTO, it's kind of hard to see. But on the roof of that car is the headliner. Pull that thing out of the box. Let it sit out in the sun. That's actually been out there for a couple, 2-3 days. So should be in really good sorts as for getting the wrinkles out and make it easier, a little stretchy. You're going to pull it just a little bit tight to get the wrinkles out of it and fit the contour of the roof, because these headliners are suspended by bows. You have 5 bows in total, and I'm going to show you they're all different, so you don't want to get them mixed up either. I don't want to remove the headliner from the Great Pumpkin. It had the original one in it, so I'll lay these bows out here for you in case yours are all put in a package or you had to buy new ones. Which one goes where? We're going to start with that and then come up with a plan. All right, like I said, we're going to start with these bows. They're still in their factory locations. There's 1, 2, a little small one here. That's 3, 4, and then 5. So we're going to get those laid out. I'll show you the differences in them. That way you can sort yours out so you get them ready to put in. And once we do that, we're going to start with the center bow right here. That one's not adjustable. If you look at the other ones, you'll see there's 3 holes for each one of them. So it's actually slightly adjustable. You can kind of tension it. But the center one, well, it's not adjustable. So we're going to hook that right up where it belongs from the factory. And then we'll adjust the other ones accordingly to try to keep the wrinkles and keep the thing kind of tensioned while I put it in the ceiling. When it comes around the sides here, there's that molding that holds it in place. We're going to use a little of our contact cement, just a little bit around the edges to help hold that in place when I put the trim on, to keep it from wrinkling just the same. That's my goal. And the back glass just kind of laying in there for now. But it's a little bit easier probably to get your hands in if you can do it before installing the windows to make your life a little easier. But if the glass is already in, you can still do this. But probably a little more shoulder room if it was out. Not to mention, with all the glass out, it stays a little cooler here because it's going to be hot as heck out here today. You know, it's got to be a good day when I actually learn a little something. I'm going to share what I've just discovered. Now, these are the 5 bows removed from the ceiling. I've always removed them one at a time and tucked them into the new top. Never worried about order. I was always told they were different and had a location. And now that I've set them all side by side, well, come to find out, bow number 1, closest to the windshield. Bow number 2, 3, 4, 5 way back. So this is the closest one to the front. Well, 1 and 2, well, they're actually identical. There is no difference between them. They're the same length, same bends, and same everything. So 1 and 2, well, if you get a box of new, no big deal because they are interchangeable. So no worries there. But here's a look at that thing. Has an actual like a 30-degree, relatively sharp bend. And of course, this is the 90-degree bend where it hooks into the roof of the car. And that's how you can identify those. They're going to be the shorter ones of the 5. Now the center bow, very self-explanatory. It doesn't have that 90-degree bend on the end. It's typically a smaller gauge, so that's really identifiable, super easy. Now bows 4 and 5. Now this is the very rear one, which is number 5. But number 4 here, they have more of a radius and then the 90-degree. They don't have that sharp bend here. So number 4 is the longest of the 5 bows. Then number 5 has about the same shape, but slightly shorter. So if you set them side by side, you will see there's a little bit of a length difference. So that would be your orientation, which one's which. In case all of yours are in a box, you didn't know where they come from, or you got new ones you didn't know, well, this is how you can locate which one is which so you can put them in. Or say someone else took the car apart, threw them all in there, you don't know where they went. I hope that helps you. I had a question on that. So that problem has been solved. That's where they go. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to start feeding them through the headliner, which I have sitting out here. And I know I get grief for using the GTO as a rack, but trust me, this thing looks decent on camera, but the paint is phenomenal. It's just the body works less than stellar. I did that thing 20 years ago, and it's showing its age. It's due for a cleanup and restoration, but that's, I guess, say a video for a different day. All right, headliner, front and back. Now, identifying which one's which, it's kind of hard to always say, but typically the back has the shorter section. So I have this thing sitting up here backwards right now. So this is the rear of it. If you go from here to here, this is the rear, and then the front, you can tell it definitely a whole lot more length. But either way, the center bow is still number 3 here in the middle, and these have pockets stitched in the backside of them here. You feed the bows through. I'm going to feed all 5 bows through in the right order, turn this thing around, then we'll start by mounting the center one in the car first. I was thinking a couple things to keep in mind. In prep work, we got the headliner ready to be installed, but these plastic clips, sometimes they deteriorate. They're the white clips. If they're not pliable anymore or really brittle, I would suggest getting new ones. That's what locks the center of the bow to the ceiling. These are in fantastic shape. You also have this molding here that actually the headliner is going to wrap around. Sometimes these rust out in really bad shape. So if they're questionable, I would replace those. These ones are in great shape. And then, of course, your headliner here above it. There's this cardboard from the factory. My mouse got into a little bit there, but let's call it 95% in great condition. And not to mention, that's a real pain in the butt to peel off. So I'm going to leave this intact. But if yours is damaged or worn out, maybe this is the time to peel that thing out of the way. And on the rear, you see like a tack strip right there. The headliner is going to attach to that. And the same thing, we have the molding that goes around the back glass. Inspect all that, make sure it looks to be in good sorts, and these are. And then the side here, it's the same thing. It's actually steel molding. It's actually part of the car body itself. The car's in great shape, but I'm going to put a little bit of that contact cement I use for the headline or the vinyl top on those pieces of trim as we stretch this top into place. And if you look at these little clips right here, well, they're kind of adjustable. They'll slide forward and backwards as needed to tension the top. So I don't want to wiggle those around too much because typically they're in pretty good position. But like I said, we're going to go ahead and grab the headliner out. I'm going to put it up into place. These little tabs here get bent and actually hook that rod. So we're going to just stab it over top of those and bump these up a little bit. And then we'll work our way forward and backwards and keeping the tension on it to keep the wrinkles out of it. And one more note, go ahead and put some screws like for the dome light. That way when you go to cut the opening, you can kind of use these as kind of like braille. You can kind of feel through the headliner and know where you're at. And even here on the front for the mirror, I kind of put the screws into place. Now the sun visors, typically very self-explanatory. There's a big old hole you'll be able to find and reference the 3 holes for the sun visors. But even this isn't that bad. This is just, to me, I like doing that. Little screws kind of feel like where I'm at. Because I got to cut this little opening to tuck the wiring through for the dome light. So I'll go ahead and grab the headliner and get this thing fed into place. All right, now basically fold this in half. Again, make sure your longer section is towards the front. And then go ahead and just climb in and hopefully get the center right. Now, typically just eyeball these, it works. All right, I'm going to show you what I'm doing here inside the car. I'm only hooked just the center to here. Again, you could actually mark the center line of this headliner. Probably wouldn't have been a bad idea, but I got a pretty calibrated eye for the most part. And what we'll do is we'll tuck this all up into place. And now the bow inside, I took a little permanent marker. I've got it there to this point here sticking through, and then sticking through, it gives me an idea, but it needs to stop right about here into this pocket. So this one is actually pretty centered. So what we'll do then, you take this thing here, pretty self-explanatory, I think, and just stab it through. And then I'm going to stab all of these through, then we'll check our spacing, make sure it looks right, but I think we're going to be fine. Okay, I'm going to do the driver's side here just the same. And once we're all happy with the position, you actually bend these tabs up just a little bit. Show you what we have. This is the end of the metal rod. It's right here in this pocket, right there where it needs to be. Here's what's hanging down about, I don't know, 2.5 inches or so. Same thing, this one here is right at the end of this little indentation pocket. And same thing, about 2 or 3 inches hanging down. So I'd say we're nice and center. I'm gonna bend all these tabs up. And that's as simple as doing something like this here. Just take that bad boy, oops, get the camera on there, and push it up. Now this will kind of help hold this in place, but the other thing we're going to do is I'm going to start working my way forward, because the way these hooks are mounted, if I start pulling the headliner forward, it's going to pull it deeper back in there. If I start going back this way first, it has a tendency to want to pull off the hook. So we're going to bend all these and move the bow number 2. All right, we jumped around here to the front side. So this is bow number 2, bow number 1. We're going to hook this up first. We need to get this relatively centered, the metal bow inside the headliner, because right here's where the end of it is. You can see there's quite a bit of material hanging off. Same thing on both ends. Once you get it centered, we're going to take a razor blade. I have to pop this thing open just enough to get where the end of it pops through, because we got to hook it here into the metal structure of the roof. We got to pick which hole we're going to put it in. And we're also going to have to adjust forward and backwards to where we want this thing at to get the proper tension to try to keep all the wrinkles out of it. So the first things first, like I said, get this nice and centered, and then we'll go ahead and just cut the ends of it open here with a razor blade in preparation to stab it in there. I've got the end popped through now. As you can see, the end has a little 90-degree bend. We're going to tuck that up into here, but the thing to keep in mind as we're putting this thing in place, you can see how the wrinkles form. I don't want to clip it here in the center until I get these ends in place. We're going to pull the proper tension. I'm just going to stab for the furthest point from here, so I keep probably the tightest, seems to work best. So we're going to try it here, and then once I get everything nice and even, I don't see any of these wrinkles that you see here forming side to side, then I'll find out where I'm going to adjust this and snap it into place. So I'll go ahead and stab this one in here and do the same thing to the driver's side. Okay, got the end stabbed in, like I said, the furthest hole forward of the three. Did the same thing over here on the driver's side, so it's in position now. Got to figure out where to put this thing at. So I'm going to just kind of, I don't see any wrinkles in there side to side, so we're just going to snap this in here. Okay, snap that into there like so. And we can then see how this moves. I think it'll be okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the next bow here, the same thing, stab it in the furthest hole away from the next bow. Originally, I think it was in here. You see the hole's kind of reamed out, but I'm going to shoot it for here, see how it works. Well, I got bow number 2 in position. We're going to do bow number 1. Now, this is the end where the metal rod sticks through. You know, testing up into place so I can kind of slide this thing side to side inside here. I don't know if you can really see that in the camera, but I want to kind of put this up into place and judge my eye. I'll get this thing nice and centered. And then we'll just cut the end open here so the rod can poke through and stick into the headliner. That's as simple as making a cut. Now I'm going to cut it back a little further. I don't get too carried away here. But just enough to have about a 1/4 inch of wiggle room once that rod pops through. Because I don't want it all bunched up. It'll wrinkle the top like this if you don't have it cut far enough. It just won't slide over. So I need to cut it just a little bit further. There we go. And that way it's into place. That's sticking through. I'll do the same here to the driver's side. I'll pop on the other side here. Use some magnets temporarily kind of hold the front seam there, or hold where it's going to be basically glued into place. Looking at this here, I pull this a little bit snug by the time I actually put it into the channel. Got a little bit of a wrinkle there. That's bow number 1. Bow number 2, when I put it in originally, by the time I pull it pretty tight, actually looks pretty good. So what's causing that? I'll show you here on the driver's side, a whole heck of a lot worse. See, it's all bunching up through here. I need to cut that channel that the bar rides in a little further back. So if you look up in here, get the camera around there, but what has to happen is this here needs cut further back. It's pulled up too tight. So I'm going to go ahead and slice that further back, and I should get rid of these wrinkles right here. All right, cut that back further and check this out now. Nice and clean there. A lot better looking than all that bunched up fabric. And I'll pull some of these wrinkles out when we actually go and glue the edges of it. But first things first, you're getting it all tested into place. So go ahead and do the rear 2 bows. Same technique, get it in there nice and centered, cut it back where there's no wrinkles, and get it in position. Then we'll work on all the edges here. All right, as you can tell, we got all 5 bows in position now. The headliner is up for the most part. That's kind of the, I'll say the easier part, just getting it snapped into place. Not at the end of the world. You kind of space these best you can, get it tight, but you can still see some wrinkles in the roof. Where the magic comes in and where it all comes into play is, let's use your imagination. If I hold the front of it here and I grab the back and you just give a little bit of a pull, you can see how much of the wrinkles actually start to come out of that. That's where the contact of the cement or the glue is going to come into play. We're going to glue just the outer edge of this and then pull this thing into shape. Starting here probably in the middle, get this one here kind of in position and clamped, and do this one, pull it over here to this side and pull it side to side, and then do the same thing. We're going to pull the front half forward and pull it out to the sides, and then glue the edges down and to the point where you can probably get 95% of all the wrinkles out. The rest is kind of work themselves out when it sits for a while, because it just the headliners just kind of do this from sitting. But or even I guess you say steam. You can steam all the wrinkles out too, but I don't have one of those cool machines, so I'm going to try to get it pulled tight, get it glued. But you can tell how much it changes the shape if I pull from end to end here. It doesn't take a whole lot of tension either. It'll actually come out pretty nice. So I'm going to start gluing this thing into place. That's the next step. Yeah. At least it's only like 80 degrees out today and like 50% humidity, so it's not that bad out here. It's actually mediocre, isn't horrible, but what I've done now is I've got this pulled where I think I got most of the wrinkles out, got it pulled pretty taut. Now I'm gonna start popping the magnets loose and come through here with my little foam brush. This is that same adhesive that I used for the vinyl top. I bought a gallon of that stuff. It was a little spendy, but I have used the heck out of it. The vinyl top, the dash pad. I'll probably do door panels, more pieces with it, and haven't even used half that gallon yet. So definitely worth buying it in bulk, I guess, in this situation. But being that we're going to use the foam brush, still the same idea. You coat both surfaces, let it dry to the touch, pull tight, and then press into place. So it's probably got another hour or so of just doing this. But I think we're going to get this thing figured out. I'll let that dry, pull that tight, and see how that works out. All right, so what I'm learning here, that glue this, but pull it over to the side. I'm gonna go ahead and do the whole side here and pull it tight, and then I'll jump over to the passenger side. We're gonna try to stretch the headliner this way first. Hope that's not an epic fail, but it's actually pulling most of the wrinkles out. It's looking a whole lot better as I go. So I want to keep doing like I've done here. I've got these three done, looks real nice. Working way back here, and I'm hoping to have the same result. So I want to keep doing the entire driver's side. You know, jumping from I started here, did this stretch, pull it this way, did this section, and now I'm going to go back here and go from this section to this section. You know, pull it back and down, and keep working my way forward. And it actually seems to be working really good. Because I laid out honest here for you. This is only the second headliner I've ever done on a first gen Firebird. The first one I did was nearly 20 years ago, so a little bit of a learning curve for me, just the same. But it's actually working out really nice. All right, well, now the technique here is just glue both surfaces and tuck it into place. I'm putting the magnets back on. It seems to be holding it taut, keeping it tight. Definitely a job to do before you put the carpet and the seats all in. Just this glue's a little messy. I could have sprayed it, but it gets even further out there. So I think the best way here was go ahead and do it like this. So give that a couple minutes, then we'll push it up into place. All right, now the idea is same thing. We're going to try to pull it forward and pull it out to the outside at the same time as I put this up into place, in hopes that keeps things looking really good like we've gotten so far here. Magnet. Just let that sit. That looks pretty good. Most of these wrinkles are going to come out, I think, when I go pull the passenger side over that direction. So I'm going to do the same thing I did here on the driver's side, on the passenger side, and then we'll do the front and the back. All right, let me share with you what I've learned so far. You can tell the wrinkles are getting a whole lot less. Well, the secret to that is pull this side, pull the other side, pull that side again, and then pull that side again. If you think you're done, go ahead and do it again anyway. Just keep pulling it tighter side to side and pulling each section forward. It's going to keep stretching and working it. I've just about got these wrinkles completely pulled out of this thing, and I haven't used any steam gun or a heat gun, so I'm kind of hoping I don't have to. But watch, if I pull the front edge here, it actually starts to make that wrinkle disappear even more. Than right there's to the right side of my head there. So that tells me I think I've got the sides squared away. I'm going to do the same thing here to the front and the back now and keep pulling those and see if we can get the rest of these wrinkles out. But she's looking really good. There we go. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and glue the leading and front and rear edge of the headliner here to the roof channel, and in the hopes to have the same results. And unfortunately, I don't have the wind lace or the trim that goes back around the glass, so I can't snap that into place, but that's just there to kind of fill in the gaps. It actually helps hold the headliner a little bit, but for the most part, the glue is what's going to keep this thing where we want it at. So I'm going to go ahead and paint these edges, top and bottom, and get this thing stretched into place. Now, of course, I've got the the dash pad all masked off, because the last thing I want to do is booger that all up, because that has a lot of time invested into that there too. I guess what I'm going to get into next here is we've got the headliner done. I'm going to throw the carpet in and do the seats, but there isn't really a whole lot left. But there is anything you guys want to see, definitely let me know. I think I've gotten most of that list squared away of all the things that you guys wanted to see how it was done. but I might have missed something, or maybe I didn't think about it. But if you guys think of any last bits of the car that you'd like to see done before I finish this thing up, and of course we're going to do a nice little test drive, put some miles on it, a shakedown, make sure all the systems function, light bulbs and all that good stuff. So we're going to make a go of that for a while too. Okay. All right, we'll let that sit and I'll stretch that into place. All right, she's been sitting for a bit. I'm going to start here in the middle and really kind of lean on this thing and pull it tight and get it put into place. Grab a couple of these magnets here. There's one. There's two. Oh, that looks good. That looks real good. Another magnet. Of course, you guys can't see everything, but I need my little helper Ed or Jay to come out here and use the camera, but they're in school today. Summer break is over. Well, anyway, you see what I'm doing here. I'll get that all magneted up. I'm going to go ahead and jump the back and do the same. All right, we're here on the back side. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to glue the channel, let it set, pull it tight, and like I said, pull it again, pull it again, pull it again. But I think most of the wrinkles are coming out. It's looking even pretty good on camera. In person, you don't see it as much. The camera picks up the highs and lows and the darks. It really makes it look worse than it is, but looking really good in the camera. So that means it's really good in person. So I guess what I would say when it comes to doing these headliners, the glue is the secret to getting the wrinkles out. So keep that in mind if you're ever doing this. Glue the edges. Don't just rely on the windlace. They actually clamp the headliner into place, because you try to tuck the windlace into place, it's actually going to push the headliner loose and get some wrinkles back in. So I'm going to get the back here glued, let it sit, and I'll bring you back as I pull this thing tight. All right, moment of truth. Last bits to stretch over the ends. This is one of the good reasons why, if the glass is out, time to do this job. I tell you, it's a whole lot more easier shoulder room wise if the back glass is out. I mean, you could do this with the glass in, but I tell you, it's a lot easier right now. The thing about it, I'm actually pulling pretty good on this. I don't know how to give you a relationship of how much pulling, but like 40 pounds of force, 20 pounds of force. So I'm pulling this thing pretty tight to get it where it looks really good, get the wrinkles out of it. So to get you an idea, I'm not just kind of leaning on this a little bit, but I'm pretty much giving it the good old what for is more or less. But it's really nice. Now I'm gonna leave these magnets on here for a while and let the stuff dry, because this contact cement, it says on the instructions, the longer it sits, the more durable the bond is. So I figure the magnets will help ensure that it's staying where I positioned it. That's looking pretty good. I think what we're going to do next, go ahead and trim all this excess back. Now, you'll see the edge of the metal panel come down about 1/4 inch and cut the openings all the way out. Leave about 1/4 inch flange. You're going to flip that stuff back over itself, so when the windlace snaps on that, it actually kind of clamps that thing into place. But the glue is really the secret to getting the wrinkles and the crease out, because this looks really nice. And then, of course, we're going to do the dome light, and right there, you can see where the screw is at. That's why I left them in there. I know exactly where to cut the hole. Right here in the middle, pull the 2 screws out, and you can mount the dome light here in the center. But this looks really nice. You can put the sun visors in. But like I said, I don't have the windlace ready for this car yet, so most I can do now is trim the edges off and install the dome light. Now, I've learned, of course, that advantage of the glass being out sure makes it a whole lot easier to cut this stuff with your Harbor Freight scissors. But come out here to the window opening, and I said leave about 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, 3/4 inch, whatever channel. Let me just flip this thing up. It sits not on the window channel, but inside of here. So go ahead and tuck all that up into place, and then ready for installation for the windlace. So I'll do the same thing here to this opening. Just trim it right on out. Well, let's talk about the sail panels. This headliner kit came with the sail panels already pre-assembled. The only thing you got to do is peel off the double-sided tape, top edge, bottom edge, fold it over, and then the leading and trailing edge flip into the window channel like the headliner did, and the windlace kind of holds in place. And these are the same style of clips that held your door panels on. So if you need to get some of those, they did not come with it. I had some, so you're gonna need 3 of those. The factory had a 4th one back here, but for some reason they only put the 3. I'm gonna say it's probably good enough, because by the time you put the package tray here, this is all tucked up in the window channel. It's not gonna go anywhere, but technically the original ones had 4. Now, orientation, just so in case you needed to know, those clips, it's just a circular hole, so which way do they clock? Well, the top two clock down towards the 6 o'clock position, and then the bottom one, well, actually, by the time it's all put into the car, this here's the, driver's side, it goes towards the rear of the car. And that's why I found the holes line up the best. So down, down, and then towards the rear of the car. So I get these peeled off here, get this fold over, and I'll snap one into place, show you how that goes. First things first, this is hanging down over top the mounting holes where the clips go through. So we just need to make a little slice in the headliner, like so, like so. That way when the clips go through, you can see what's going to happen. It's actually going to help pull the headliner into place. Now the bottom two holes, this one's no longer used, that one is. So basically just line this thing up, snap it into place. Check my fitment here. Alright, now we'll come back with our glue. And the same thing, I'm going to glue this edge, roll this over so when the windlace goes on, it actually kind of holds it all into place. About as simple as that. These are actually a pretty nice setup. The ones they've actually pre-cut and pre-glued. Back in the day, you didn't get them that way. You just had a piece of fabric and had to try to put it over top of your old rotten cardboard or make your own pieces. But these are pretty nice. So I'll go ahead and get the edges glued and just about done. Now still using the same old contact cement I'm using for the whole project. I'll show you the can here in a second in case you want to know what kind or what flavor to buy. But this is the stuff that was recommended for people who do vinyl tops and interior work. So I've been super happy with it. It's the first time I've used it on a build. I've used just aerosol 3M stuff, which is a little spendy. This stuff works better. It has a little more work time before it actually sets up like rock solid. And the grip is just really impressive. It holds very nice. So. All right. Now what this is going to do is going to help hold the sail panel in place when you go slide the windlace, the window trim in there, so it doesn't walk and move around there. But I'll also do the same thing here to the leading edge. Typical dry time on that, and then I have this little, grab that. Okay, give that a typical 5-minute dry time. Should be plenty of time for that stuff to be tacked up and ready to go. This little plastic body filler spreader, get in here to help work this thing into place. It's just a little tight. You can use this then to kind of push it down on to where it needs to be. And this is just in preparation when we put that last bit of the trim there in place, but that'll do it. I'll do the same thing to that front edge. Well, just about wrapped up. See the sail panels, see the headliner, and I can't end the video without trying to screw something up. This perfectly brand new, beautiful headliner. I'm gonna take a razor blade right here to the middle and cut a big hole in it. Again, this is why those screws are left in place, because if you start searching around for it, there it is, right there's the screw. So let's just go ahead and pop a hole in the new headliner. Nothing about that sounds like a great idea, does it? But part of the necessary evil of a brand new piece, you got to get the headliner and the dome light in here. So let's just go ahead and tear it up, right? There's the wires. Now these are the original wires. They just snap into the new housing here, hopefully. That's what supports the bulb. I'm going to try and do this one hand, but see how that rest inside there pokes through, the bulb goes in. That's what I'm trying to do here to this side, but it's a little snug fit being brand new, but I will try to shove that through there anyway, but it pops all the way through like so. Let me put our 2 screws in there, and that's done. Now, as you can tell, I've got some of the interior kind of resting in the car here. I have the instrument panel in place, but we're not actually wired in yet. I was just test fitting everything, make sure it's all going to work, because I have a new instrument panel that I actually got for it, painted it, and it's repop stuff, so we want to make sure it all fits before final committing to anything on this thing. Oh, there's where we are. So I still have to do a wiring harness video or a wiring video. I'm not entirely sure what you guys want to see on that. So I just have a factory style harness I'm putting back in the car. And you might be asking yourself the question, why would I put a factory harness in when all these aftermarket ones are available? Well, you just said the key word there. It's a factory harness. So there's wiring diagrams available all over the internet in the service manual. That way if there's ever an issue, the car could be repaired, because long story short, I'm done with this car. I may never see it again, unfortunately. I don't really know what's going to happen. I hope that it'll still stay in touch, but it may be on the other side of the country. So with that being said, if someone has to do repairs on it, the last thing you want to do is start digging into a custom wiring harness, and no one's going to know how it was wired up or how it made it work. So that, I think the best thing in this situation is stick back to the stock on this. So dome light installed. I got to get a new bulb, but just to make it look pretty, we're going to put this in place. That looks pretty cool. I will leave you with the video. Here's what we look like so far in the dash. We've added the rally gauge set up to this car. Got the speedometer all set up and ready to go. Pedals are done. Center console. Hey, did you know they actually make replacement boots now for the shifter cables? When I first started doing this stuff, those did not exist. So I got the replacement boots that seals that shifter cable to the floor. I still have to modify my AC vent. I don't like the one that came with the vintage era. I'm gonna go back to the original style one, but do a little modification, but it will fit. Got a radio on order. It looks kind of vintagey, so it's a 2-knobber, but it actually has a little more power, a little more modern amenities. I think I put some speakers in, but looking really good. Now, so hopefully the headliner installation video helps you out, but I think she looks pretty good. A few of these wrinkles are gonna relax, and some will probably always be there. It's just what it is, but this is actually headliner number 2 for me. I'm feeling very, very happy and confident with it. As soon as I get the windlace pieces in, snap those into place, and then I can put some windows in. And as you can tell, I mean, really, seriously, it's just all kind of coming together. Put the interior panels in, carpet, wire it up, fire it up, and we're going to go for a drive. So I hope you appreciate what we've done so far. Like I said, last few videos here coming up on the Great Pumpkin. Anything you'd like to see, now's the time to ask. But don't you worry about a thing. I have some other cars in the works, some more projects, some more things happening. The Firebird Restoration Station isn't going to end with the Great Pumpkin. We got plenty more, different years of cars and different ideas, different projects, and maybe some more mods. So I've rambled on enough. I'm going to go find me something to eat, call it quits, and hope to see you guys next time.